Hey, everybody, welcome to another edition of YBMcast with Matt and Brian. We've got some good stuff for you today, folks. Matt,
Yes, Brian.
good to see you.
You too, sir.
Always fun. Hey, we've got some good stuff coming up. We're finishing out the year here. We're going to finish up here in a minute. We've got Kevin Moulder coming on the show here from Prep Baseball Report. And, looking into 2021, we've got some rankings coming up. We're going to be talking more about players and some great stuff and insight coming up on the show, yeah?
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting. Kevin's gonna be a good guest. Kind of get into the head of a PBR guy, and he's a local guy. He's got some good ties into baseball in St. Louis and in the state of Missouri, so that is going to be great. Excited to talk to him.
We're looking into 2021, and right now we're still high school baseball. After we talked with Kenny Seifert, we're still up and down a little bit right now, right?
We are up and down. I think we'll know more though in January, February.
Yeah, we're gonna try and get Kenny back on the show and talk to him the closer we get
Right.
to that time frame. The rankings, we're looking to get some more high school coaches on. Hopefully, I'm going to reach out to Coach Perkins and Coach Elmendorf. We got some great opportunities with some really good high level coaches. We hope you guys enjoyed the show with Eric Goff. That was really fun, wasn't it?
It's always good to talk to a knowledgeable high school baseball coach.
Yeah. Yeah. And we've got some of those in this area. We've got some good quality teams. And if the baseball season does go off as normal, which we hope it does, there's going to be a lot of good baseball.
A lot of good baseball teams, a lot of good baseball players. And I think there's going to be more of an excitement this year because we didn't have it.
Right.
Or I should say there's going to be more of an excitement in 21 because we didn't have it in 20. So
Exactly. And so, all you students, get out and support your baseball clubs. There's really good baseball being played at the high school level, especially St. Charles County. I know a lot of good schools, St. Louis County, from Vianney to, the Rockwood School, Fort Zumwalt Parkway, all of these schools, all of these school districts, there's a lot of good baseball. And, as we look at the rankings, as we're going to talk to Kevin here, there's a lot of good players at these different schools.
a lot of good players in 21 class, 22, 23.
Yeah.
So excited.
So you're going to see those guys on the field. So, you know what? We'll be right back after this break with Kevin Moulder. Hey, everybody, welcome into the studio. Today, we have our guest, Kevin Moulder from Prep Baseball Report. Kevin, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Excited to be here.
I want to start by asking, how did you get into your position? What's your background? How did you start in baseball? And kind of give us a rundown of your journey.
Yeah. Well, like a lot of people at that time, I finished up college, and my career as a player ended, and a lot of people, including myself, not sure what quite to do. And a friend of mine asked me, to come back, work some camps in the summer. So immediately found graduation. I just was working some camps, and he asked me to come on and help out at St. Louis Community College at Forest Park, and I wasn't sure what else I was going to do at that time. So I agreed to it and taught a couple classes, and then it was things started moving pretty quick from there. I went to Lake City Community College in Florida. I was there which was a great experience. It's kind of like a baseball factory. Some really high-end players. A couple guys ended up making the big leagues off that team, and then went to Central Missouri. Spent a couple of years there, which I consider, one of the top D2 programs in the country. Had a great experience there, and from there, spent 7 years at St. Louis U. Won the conference my last 3 years there. And then from there, went on to be the head coach at Murray State University, and also had a couple summer ball coaching jobs mixed in. St. Louis Metro Collegiate League was my first head coaching experience, and then I did a couple others, Mountain Collegiate League and Texas Collegiate League head coaching jobs, and got to know the owner of Prep Baseball Report for my time at St. Louis U and going to work events, and always maintained a pretty good relationship with Sean Duncan. And then, he asked me to take over Missouri, and, agreed to it. And then, everything with the pandemic, and ended up starting up last June. So that's kind of, in a nutshell, how I got there.
Very good. So this is your first year with Prep Baseball Report?
Yes. Yep.
Very good. Very good. So tell us a little bit about Prep Baseball Report. What is it about?
So ultimately, our job, our platform is we're trying to get guys exposure to make their lives easier to get to the next level, whatever the next level is. We're not only catering to the kid that's going to be a top 5 round draft pick. There's a spot. If you're interested in playing college baseball, there's a spot for you. So Division 1, 2, 3, NAIA, JUCO, professional. We're trying to evaluate and identify all the high school talent out there and help them reach their goals.
Kevin, Matt, thanks for coming on.
Hey, Matt. Absolutely.
So to dive into this PBR stuff, because PBR has really been, I would say, an alternative, or very kind of giving Perfect Game some competition for the first time ever in regards to rankings and tournaments, and they've grown substantially in the last just few years alone. It's nice to see Missouri finally get a guy, because I think for a while the Kansas guy was doing Missouri, right? Wasn't the Kansas guy doing Missouri for a while?
It was a shared guy. Yeah, he lived in Kansas City. But yeah, this is I'm obviously focused on just the state of Missouri.
Yeah.
Or primarily the state of Missouri, I should say.
Right. So with that, we'll kind of dive into some of the the rankings, and I guess the best way to start the ranking process is, how do you dictate the rankings? Obviously, talent is a big factor in it, but in your opinion, when you see kids and you go to rank them, give me some things that stick out for you.
Yeah. Well, I think it depends on the class that you're talking about, but with the older guys, you expect it's a little less about projection with those. If we go all the way down to freshmen, you're doing a little bit more of projection, and the juniors and sophomores are somewhere in the middle of those two. But obviously, away the number one thing you're looking for is talent and ability. Is clearly what we rank these guys off of, and there's a variety of things. Physical talent, ability to play the game, who has a feel for the game. It's not just off of exit velos and 60 times. It's throwing velocity. So it's it maybe the younger levels, you lean on that a little bit more, and give some guys the benefit of the doubt, obviously, because everyone, all the way through high school and college even, is still learning to play and developing. But as they mature, as they get older, you expect to see some more results on field. So you kind of have to shift the rankings around accordingly. But it's an objective, thing. People are going to see it differently. You ask 10 guys to do the rankings, you're going to see 10 different results. When in this 2021 class, the seniors right now, we rank 225 guys. There's going to be some variables and variances in there,
Let me
obviously.
let me ask you that with,
Just ask the
this.
parents.
Because now, because as you said, you're talking about the athlete and just eye and watching and playing. But are there certain measurables that play at different levels?
Yeah, and that's one thing that's kind of been nice for me. I've coached and worked. I've either played or coached at every single level of baseball other than Division III, which is a benefit, just because I've seen a lot of different levels of baseball. So I kind of know what fits where. But yeah, absolutely. And it's not, you can't just go off stats, for example. Like
Right.
there will be inevitably, the guy this spring that has phenomenal numbers, maybe the best numbers in the area, in the state or whatnot. But if he's a upper 70s to 81 mile per hour pitcher, um, that he could be very good in high school and be first team all state and everything. But that guy is most likely not going to be ranked number one in the state of Missouri. And I would just say that that won't translate at a height of a Division I level or into professional baseball most likely. So there is factors like that for hitters, bat speed and strength, stuff that can play at the high school level doesn't necessarily play at the higher levels of college baseball and certainly not professional baseball. So that's another thing that's factored in. You talk to people and people sometimes don't understand. Well, so when Johnny went 8-0 in high school, or Johnny hit 483, and he's ranked 148th. How in the world is that possible? Well, there's other things that go into it, and there is certainly it's not all apples to apples when you're doing this stuff.
And that doesn't mean he couldn't mature into or get better. That doesn't mean that, right?
Oh, absolutely not. And this isn't saying whoever the number one guy is going to end up being the best player in the world, and whoever's ranked 100th won't be, a big leaguer one day. This is just what it is right now. And, I've gotten used to saying these rankings, especially with the high school guys, even if they're done perfectly correct, let's say everyone's on the same page and we've got everything ranked perfectly, all you got to do is wait 2-3 weeks and it's going to be incorrect because these guys are developing at such a rapid pace. Guys get better, guys get hurt, guys get lazy, guys get super motivated. So there's going to be a lot of up and down in the ranking in a short amount of time, especially when you're dealing with, we rank mostly, 14 to 18-year-olds. So there's a lot of, some kid's going to grow 6 inches over winter break. Some kid's going to put on 10 pounds of muscle. It's going to change the rankings.
Well, and to add to the difficulty of ranking players, you have some kids don't attend a PBR event. So,
right.
There's an example on Missouri's rankings, number 37, kids out of Nixon, Missouri, and he doesn't have a PBR profile, which means he's never attended a PBR event. Am I correct? That if he doesn't have
and our number six player, Isaiah Frost, has never been to a PBR event either, and he's ranked as high as number 6. I've got some good intel on him, talked to some pro scouts. Um, feel pretty good about where I have him in the rankings. So this isn't just, um, hey, these are the best in the senior class, 225 guys that came to a PBR event. This is the best guys that we know about. Now, does it help your cause to come to a PBR event? I don't show bias if you do, but if you're playing in front of me, that helps your cause. It gives you an extra opportunity as opposed to the guy that, and think about how hard it was this year. We didn't play high school baseball. There was some strange circumstances, even with the summer ball stuff. So it wasn't exactly easy to get around and get to see players this year. So coming to an event certainly gave you an extra opportunity to put your best foot forward.
Well, and how often do you go watch high school games, and do you watch summer club team games?
Well, this year obviously I watched 0 high school games.
Right.
But moving forward, I plan on being out pretty much every single day that there is a high school baseball game. Now, I was fortunate to get out and watch quite a few, summer games with club organizations, and Missouri's been I feel really fortunate in the whole state. It's going to be a boost to baseball in the Midwest, but particularly in Missouri, the Creekside facility over in Kansas City, beautiful complex, and it's brought some high level teams from across the country, specifically the region, Midwest, Upper Midwest, even Mid South, Oklahoma and Arkansas, to Missouri, and we've got to watch a high level of baseball there. So that's been a plus and a benefit to PBR Missouri and to, in my opinion, all the players in the state of Missouri.
Yeah, it's a really nice. I don't know if you've seen Creekside. It's a really nice complex.
Seen it. I've seen it advertised. I haven't, just sat and looked at what the facility's like. Well, then let's take a look at this real quick. If you're as rankings, you're basically, you have Kansas City, right? You have the bigger areas, Springfield, Southwest, and St. Louis Metro, correct?
Cape, Columbia, yeah.
And that's, how do you get out to the rural sides in those places? What's that process?
Yeah, that this year with no high school baseball, that made it extremely challenging. But we run events in these areas. I went down and ran an event in Kennett, Missouri. And they've never run an event in the southeast portion down there. So we ran an event in Kennett down in the Boot Heel, and am again in January. We run events in Columbia, Missouri, which is a great place to do it because it's centrally located. It's fair for the kid in Kansas City. It's fair for the kid in St. Louis, the northern Missouri, southern Missouri. It's, if you're willing to drive a couple hours, you can get there instead of, 6 or 7 hours, depending on where we are in the state. So in the future, we're going to do one down in Springfield, Missouri. So, it is a statewide ranking, and our goal is to cover the entire state, not just the best kids in St. Louis and Kansas City.
So getting away from the 21 class, looking at, let's say, 22s, maybe 23s. 24s are really hard right now, especially because, didn't have high school baseball, even 23s. But is there anybody that is an underclassman, let's say underclassmen, define it, juniors, sophomores, even maybe a freshman here or there, that you would say he's one to watch? He's a riser. We all know in this area of the 23 at Howell, Brett Norfleet, he's getting a lot of attention. Yeah. But maybe including him and some other ones that you think are ones to watch out for in the coming years.
Yeah. Well, I'm honestly pretty familiar with that 24 class. We've gotten they've gotten to a lot of events, and our future game series um, was able to happen in July. So I got to spend some time with those guys, or actually at the beginning of August. So I got to spend 3, 4 days with a lot of those guys. That's a loaded class. This year's freshmen. Incoming freshmen, I guess they're not incoming anymore. They're there. This year's freshmen in the state of Missouri are really, really strong. Trace Snyder's a special player. He's over at Liberty North. He's a freshman this year, middle infielder, shortstop. Um, he's highly, highly regarded nationally. We already got 3 guys committed in that class. Bo Jonas going to Oklahoma, catcher from Liberty North. Drew Dickerson from Lee Summit West going to Mizzou, and Devin Wassman from Platte County, an outfielder, going to Mizzou as well. So, that 24 class is really strong. The 23 class is also an exceptional class. Brett Norfleet is a special talent. I saw him this summer, an athletic 6'7", physical guy. He's a high-end football recruit too. He's got offers on the table from Power 5 conferences to play tight end. So that gives you an idea. A lot of kids at, what I don't know his current is 16 years old, that are 6'7". Sometimes those tall guys take a really long time to catch up to their body, to get coordinated. Sometimes it takes those guys a couple years to develop, sometimes even into their 20s before they realize their full potential. And this guy's a little bit different. He's a very good athlete. He moves around like he's a 6-foot athlete, except for he's 6'7". So he can run his fastball up to 91. Right now he's doing a little. He's recovering from an injury, so he probably won't see him on the mound this spring. But he can also swing the bat a little bit, and big, strong guy, obviously. So he will be one to follow, and look forward to him getting healthy again.
Now, Liberty North, that's Kansas City, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just wanted to make sure people knew where we're talking about in the areas. So, and Platte County, that's
northern Kansas City,
okay.
Up by the airport, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, there's Kansas City is very similar to St. Louis, where there's a lot of very talented players in that area. But they kind of figure off of the Kansas side as well, which
Gotcha.
kind of like you figure off some of the Illinois kids here.
So when you're talking about kids and whatnot, what would you recommend? You have this kid that's in recruiting and whatnot. What's the importance of attending a PBR event? Why would you say come to one of our events?
This year even more so than ever, it's a way to gain exposure to college coaches. Our prepbaseball.com website, probably every Division I, almost every D2, a ton of the other colleges have a subscription to our service. So you come to an event, all your numbers are going to be up there by third party. So it's not just your dad saying that he runs a 6'6". It's verified. All the numbers up there are trusted. There's going to be video up there. It gives the college coach or the scout a baseline understanding of where that player is. And then it has all the recruiting information, high school, height, weight, contact info, whatnot. So club team, high school team, etc. So it's going to give these guys a really good understanding of who you are as a baseball player.
So what are some events that you have coming up And what areas are they
Yeah.
in?
Yeah. Got a couple events coming up. Um, we got an event. My first event coming up, and I'm pulling them up right now, is January 30th. That's my Boot Heel Classic. We talked about going to different parts of the state, and so that's going to be back down in Kennett, Missouri. So that'll kind of get the southeastern part of Missouri, and it'll also draw some guys from Tennessee, Kentucky, Illinois, Arkansas. Uh, that all come it all comes together kind of down there. So that's my first one. Then we do our preseason all state events, which is an invite only. We try to get some of the more high end players in our state to the same spot. We are doing one February 6th in Wentzville at the Sports Barn. And then I will do another one um, February 14th over in Kansas City. So, it gives the guys two options if they have a conflict with the date, or obviously, whichever event makes more sense geographically for them. This time of year, you have to be uh, relying on an indoor facility to run a quality event, obviously. So
Yeah.
um, that's why we're running one in St. Louis and one in Kansas City, because those are the parts of the states that really have the quality, the indoors. We do have one coming up in Springfield potentially that we're working on. They have a nice indoor down there as well. But those are our ones preseason.
And explain to people what the Super 60 Pro Showcase is, because I get a lot of questions from people asking, how do I go to the Super 60? How do I become a part of the Super 60? And it's an elite event. So I'd like for you to kind of explain what it is.
Yeah, the Super 60 is one of our premier showcase events that we run nationally. And it's going to be about 60 guys. Um, in the past, in normal circumstances, they'll every pro team will have multiple scouts or personnel there. It's a indoor workout, but it is designed to be uh, the top of the top. So we'll have a couple Missouri guys in there. Austin Young is attending, for example, local guy, with a couple others. But it's just a way to get the top players in the country into one spot to give them a great look, and to get them some very good exposure from the pro guys.
Now, do you go there for that, Kevin? Do all the PBR state guys go?
Under normal circumstances, yes. This year, I am not attending. That is also when our national uh, we do our meetings, our company meetings, the couple days before. This year, we're not doing them just with COVID and everyone, so we're not traveling this year
Now,
for
can
that
the everyday
event.
person log into their PBR account and watch it live? Is that capable?
We are working on. I do think the event will be live streamed. We have a couple things company wide that we're working on, but yes, the event should be streamed
Whether via
for everyone to
Twitter
watch
or
it live.
something? Yeah.
Y-
Yeah.
yes, yep.
I think it'd be good for a lot of kids because that's kind of their goal, is to attend an event like this. I think they should watch the event and see the talent that is there, so they understand the level that they need to be at to attend an event like this.
Yes, and if this is for the player that is getting legitimate draft interest. If you haven't heard from a pro scout, you probably aren't going to get invited to this event. This is for the elite of the elite. Not saying that you won't end up playing professional baseball, but this is for the guy that's already getting that attention. Um, and that's what the event is designed for.
So I want to ask you, with this being said, you've got Austin Young, who's going to the event. How does Missouri stack up nationally, talent-wise?
You know what? It stacks up very well. What I've found and have known for a while, as I pull these back up, it goes in waves. So it'll depend on class. And there'll be some years when it's really, really strong, and some years when it's more average. So it'll come and go a little bit. Missouri had one of the top ranked players in the country. Christian Little is number 4 in the country, and if you look at some of the draft projections and whatnot for this coming year, he was projected to be a top 10 pick in most publications. Now he's reclassified and he's going to Vanderbilt at semester. So that changes the dynamics of this class a little bit, but still, this is a really, really deep class. You can go into the rankings and see there's Division I players uh, ranked in the 40s, and that's not an indication of that. I think it's just that's how deep the class is. It's a really, really strong class. Um, and I know a couple of the younger classes are falling in line with this 21. It might even surpass it, quite honestly. But only time will tell.
Yeah, because as you're putting together 21, 22, 23, 24 over the next 3 years, there's a lot of talent in this area, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. This is a strong area, for baseball. And if you look at some of these names in high schools from the 21 class, I mean, there's quite a few of them. Vianney, Liberty Wentzville, Westminster, Fort Zumwalt East, Lafayette, Holt, Eureka, Kirkwood, Limburg, Lafayette, Lutheran St. Charles, Chaminade. There is a ton of Francis Howell. So it's Francis Howell Central. I mean, the Parkways. It's if you just look at the rankings and you see all these high schools, you can tell that there's some good talent in this area. And I'm certain I probably missed a couple high schools that are CBC. I mean, CBC is really loaded this year. I just was going off my 21 rankings, so they got some really good young guys in particular.
And
So
Co-
it's
Fort Zumwalt West, we just talked with Coach Goff. He's got quite a few players over at West that are looking real good, so.
absolutely, absolutely.
It's gonna be a fun
It
spring.
is definitely a strong area. Absolutely, yeah.
It'll be
Let's
fun to
hope.
watch. Yeah,
And
hopefully.
and you know what, that would be cool, because that's the thing, everybody talks about football and basketball. There's a lot of great baseball in this state at the high school level, isn't there?
100%. The Missouri teams play at a high level, and I think that's been our guys have gone on and done well on the national scene. Whether that's at the Super 60 or the Future Games or area codes, or even just moving on to 4-year colleges and performing well. I think it's fairly well known that St. Louis and Missouri in particular cranks out a lot of good college baseball players, and a good number of them end up into professional baseball.
So that would be my suggestion. You high school students, go out and support your baseball teams. Go watch a ball game. I know, you know, enjoy that. I think that's one of the things we are trying to do here is garner more interest into that, especially at the high school level, supporting those guys and being there watching those baseball games.
I'd like to see that. I've obviously been around the country a good deal, and um, you know, it isn't supported the way it is in other parts of the country, certainly, in terms of just overall support, students attending games, finances, etc. You go to different parts of the country, and it's quite honestly, it's supported at a higher level. And I don't feel like that the attention and support that it's given represent the quality and the level that these guys play at, because it is, there's some really high end players, and even just across the board, they just team wise, take the individuals out of it, they're playing good baseball. So it's certainly fun to watch and entertaining.
Very good. Kevin, we want to thank you for joining us today, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, anytime, guys. Thank you.
Kevin, thank you, sir.
Hey, folks,
Yep, you got it, Matt.
Kevin Moulder from Prep Baseball Report. We look to have him back on the show, and we'll be right back after this break. Hey, everybody, want to thank you for joining us today on YBMcast with Matt and Brian. We do appreciate it. Matt, always a pleasure talking baseball, right?
Yeah, it's always fun, especially when you get a good guest.
Absolutely. Great information about Prep Baseball Report. What's your feelings as moving forward with, talking to players, and you deal with a lot of players with the Bandits organization and just the field house and whatnot. How would you move your kids towards PBR?
We've pushed PBR from day one.
Have you?
It's important to get, like Kevin said, a third party to evaluate, so it's not your coach, it's not your dad, it's somebody who's only seen you on the field a few times or seen you at an event, and it's they see some different tangibles, and they can rank you and rate you. And like you said, a lot of college coaches use PBR's rankings just to see some kids. So I think it's essential to be not only at a PBR event, but play in the PBR tournament, or which we'll get into more with Kevin about those as next time we speak to him. But
sure,
it's essential, and it's right here, and they're doing something that I wish that they did whenever I played. So I mean, it's available. It's available. It's there. You got to utilize it.
And it's the impartiality. I think if you can get
Correct.
your parents to step back for a minute and just look at, this is an impartial person. They're not saying that your kid's terrible, this, that. It's just a measurable.
It is, but it's also not just, hey, go D1. Go to PBR because I'm going to go D1. There's a lot of NAIA schools, D3 schools, D2, JUCO. All those schools use the system of PBR, and then you can use your PBR profile to send to those schools.
Right. And to your point, let me throw this in there. I'm sorry. I read here a headline here not too long ago. It was on the NAIA website. Mm-hmm. They had 36 players out of NAIA. I know that's not a huge amount, but still 36 players drafted from NAIA schools.
It's the old saying of, if you play college baseball, you're a stud. I don't care if you're playing JUCO. I don't care if you're playing NAIA. I don't care if you're playing D3, D2, D1. Just look at the percentages of how many people do not play a college sport. So you can't just say, well, I didn't go to Arkansas, I'm not any good.
Right.
I mean, if you want to play ball, there's a place that you can play ball. You just got to put in the effort, and doing PBR events is part of the effort.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great baseball coming up. Folks, this is our last show together here for the end of the year. We wish everybody a Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to everybody.
Happy New Year, all that sort of jazz. And be safe always, enjoy. And we'll be back at the beginning of the year with more information, more coaches, more conversations. We'll be back. We're looking to get Kenny Seifert back from Misha, get a little more information as we get closer to the season. Talking, rankings, high school rankings, and we'll be back with more of we're looking to start ranking our 13 and 14U teams as we get closer to the beginning of the season there, talking with some of the club teams and things of that nature.
Yeah, I think that'll be exciting, especially, what Kevin just said, how there's freshmen who are already committed. So
that was crazy.
It happens everywhere. I mean, it's good that it's happening here because it happens down south all the time. So people think it's crazy that you're going to rank a 14-year-old team, but it's things are changing.
Because of 14U player there committing already, and it wasn't just Chump. It was Oklahoma, Mizzou. That's SEC or Big 12 and SEC.
Yeah.
So this isn't just not to. I shouldn't say that. Not to diminish Division II or whatnot, but these are these big Power 5 schools looking at 14U players.
Well, if you're going to commit early, you're going to a Power 5 school. If you're committing that early, you're going to a Power 5 school.
So we hope you're enjoying our conversations, folks. Hey, remember, if you like what you're seeing, subscribe, hit the subscribe button, hit that dinger for your notifications. We do appreciate you supporting Youth Baseball Midwest. That's what we're here for. Remember, all you pitchers, keep throwing strikes. You hitters,
Hit them where they ain't.
there you go. Everybody have a great day in the Lord, and we'll see you next time.